Two men found dead in Batunia fire. Sunway LCDA strengthens collaboration. Premier confidence Sarawak can double its GDP in 2030. An early morning fire at the workers' quarters in Kampong Telong, Jalan Pesisir Miri Bintulu, claimed the lives of two Indonesian workers on Thursday. A spokesman for the Fire and Rescue Department Bombas said the incident occurred at around 5:50 a.m. The victims were identified as 30-year-old Jaya and 35-year-old Harry. Following a report lodged by members of the public, Batunia Fire and Rescue Department Chief Rari Binji said that a team of 9 firefighters was dispatched to the scene to tackle the blaze. Upon arrival, it was said that a container cabin was on fire, with about 20% of it destroyed.
Tibanya di lokasi, didapati kebakaran telah terkawal dan anggota bomba telah bertindak memadamkan sisa-sisa kebakaran dengan menggunakan sumber air dari pam jentera. Kebakaran turut mengakibatkan 2 orang mangsa yang ditemui dalam bilik stroto kontainer dan disahkan meninggal dunia oleh pasukan Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia atau KKM di tempat kejadian.
The bodies were then removed after the fire was completely extinguished at 6:40 in the morning.
Setelah selesai operasi pemadaman, pihak kami membantu mengeluarkan kedua-dua mangsa sebelum diserahkan kepada unit forensik polis untuk tindakan selanjut dan operasi pemadaman ditamatkan pada jam 8.30 pagi.
The cause of the fire and the extent of the damages are still under investigation. Premier Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, witnessed the signing of 2 Memorandums of Understanding (MOU) on Thursday between Sunway, the Land Custody and Development Authority (LCDA), as well as the Sarawak Foundation. In a statement, Sunway emphasized that this collaboration not only solidifies Sunway's commitment to modern and innovative property development in Sarawak, but also shapes transformative phase projects that will redefine the regional landscape. According to the statement, the first MOU was inked between Sunway and the Sarawak Foundation's trust entity concerning the transformation of 119 acres of land in Kuching into a digital medical village. Simultaneously, Sunway and the Sarawak Foundation will also cooperate in exploring the renowned Sunway model of business, which involves building, operating and owning or transferring. The second MOU signed by Sunway and LCDA pertains to the redevelopment of a 497-acre urban renewal project in Bukit Aceh. Sarawak is capable of doubling its GDP from 140 billion ringgit last year to 282 billion ringgit in 2030, as targeted under the Post-COVID-19 Development Strategy 2030. According to Premier Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, he added that to realize the vision, the state, civil service and political leadership set out must implement PCDS 2030 and the recently launched Sarawak Digital Blueprint as one united team.
In other words, because of the environment you're in, the advantages that we have in terms of kita pun strength, I think we can achieve 280. But we have to work hard. We have to work hard with new initiative, new ideas.
He also opined that New World Economic Order had presented Sarawak with tremendous opportunities that were unavailable before.
When I talk about era, it is not only from the Malaysia's perspective, not only from Sarawak perspective, but rather what's going on globally. and where we should position ourselves in this challenging era.
The Chief Whip of the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS, Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof, is confident that the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS will remain as the voters' top choice in the upcoming Jepak State Constitution by-election. He is also confident that with a solid track record and performance, GPS will win in style.
According to Fadilah, the credibility of GPS's candidate Iskandar Turki, who possesses substantial maturity and extensive experience as a public servant, will allow him to provide excellent service to the community, especially in the stronghold of GPS, the Jepak State Constituency.
Saya kira calon yang diberi seorang calon yang berpengalaman dalam pentadbiran kerajaan, dan sudah pasti bila ada pengalaman ini dia akan mampu menggalas tugas dan amanah kalau diberi kepercayaan oleh pengundi-pengundi kita di Jepak. Oleh itu saya merayulah pengundi-pengundi kita di Jepak berilah sokongan pada calon GPS ini daripada PBB untuk meneruskan segala hikmat bakti yang telah dirancang dan diberi oleh almarhum Datuk Talib. InsyaAllah beliau ini akan dapat meneruskan perjuangan itu, dan dengan sokongan kami semua di peringkat kepimpinan negeri, insyaAllah kita akan bersama terus dapat membangunkan Jepak.
He further added that the GPS machinery will be actively involved to ensure that the GPS candidate not only wins but does so with style.
As the clock ticks down to the start of the Jepak by-election, the residents of Jepak are making their wishes and aspirations abundantly clear to the future elected assemblyman. Development of agriculture and the enhancement of educational infrastructure in the district takes centre stage as they deliberate on which candidate will succeed the late incumbent Allahyarham Datuk Talib Zulkifli. Food stall owner Suraji Ali anticipates that the newly elected representative will work towards expanding agricultural areas in Jepak to boost the local economy while ensuring food security.
Di Jepak ni banyak yang perlu untuk ditambah baik, ditambah untuk terutama untuk sektor pembangunan, pertanian. Yang penting pertanian. Cuma kita sarankanlah untuk macam kami yang bekerja sendiri ni, yang utamanya kita perlukan pertanian.
Meanwhile, Redzwan Nahar hopes for a focus on the development of educational infrastructure in Jepak and support for small businesses in the area.
Dia nak kemajuan daripada segi pendidikan, ekonomi. Maklumlah sekarang keadaan ekonomi selepas COVID kan, kita perlukan yang kemajuan untuk kehidupan mereka sendiri.
Dari segi ekonomi macam mana, apa yang nak dibantu?
Banyak lagi kalau kerajaan nak bantu daripada perniagaan mereka, usaha sendiri, bisnes, dan yang penting sekali untuk pendidikan. Pendidikan bagi kawasan Jepak, kena masa ini kita kalau ada tak ada pendidikan tak boleh lah kita, sebab sekarang teknologi kan, zaman moden ini kita perlukan anak-anak di kawasan itu yang berpendidikan.
For youths like Shahmi Zul Hakimi, he hopes to see an increase in sports infrastructure such as football fields for recreational purposes and sports activities.
Lebih uruskan. Kenapa?
Sebab kalau kita lebih daripada sukan, kita boleh membangunkan nama Jepak.
The Jepak State Constituency by-election follows the passing of its incumbent, Datuk Talib Zulkifli, on September 15. Talib held the seat for 6 terms, with his last victory in 2021 by a majority of 4,243 votes. The Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS will field Iskandar Turki as their candidate. The candidate nomination day is set for October 21st, with the polling day on November 4th. Development agenda takes precedence for voters in Japan in making decisions about electing their future representatives. Several people met by TVS expressed their desire of continuous socio and infrastructure development for the prosperity of the state constituency.
Sudah tentu mood rakyat pada ketika ini kita melihat bahawa dinamika Sarawak secara umumnya ialah sudah tentu kita akan memilih calon GPS. Karena GPS terbukti telah membawa Sarawak khususnya daripada satu peringkat ke peringkat yang lebih tinggi dari segi aspek pembangunan ekonomi, dari segi pembangunan sosial dan juga infrastruktur. Dan sudah tentu itu menjadi mood rakyat pada ketika ini untuk memastikan GPS menang.
Kepimpinan ini mesti mahu orang yang jujur dan mahu berdamping dengan rakyat, berjiwa rakyat, mahu bekerjasama dengan rakyat. Jadi kita tak mahu pemimpin dia cuma ditegur, dia nak membuatkan satu tak mahu menerima teguran.
Coming up right after the break, Prime Minister urges transparent aid distribution and migrants return to United Kingdom barge. Only here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Malaysia will take the opportunity to strengthen relations and cooperation with Gulf countries at the inaugural ASEAN Gulf Cooperation Council GCC Summit, which will take place on Friday. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir said this includes finalizing several trade agreements and enhancing cooperation in various fields, particularly multilateral relations, the economy, and regional security. He said Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, who will lead Malaysia's delegation at the summit, has been honoured with delivering the opening speech, given Malaysia's role as the ASEAN coordinator for this summit. This summit is being held for the first time since ASEAN and the GCC established relations in 1990. The GCC comprises 6 member states, namely Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates UAE. The Humanitarian Trust Fund for the People of Palestine has received a 71 million ringgit boost donated by caring Malaysians. The donations came from 46 companies and corporations, with Khazanah Nasional Berhad and government-linked companies being the biggest contributors, donating a total of 15.5 million ringgit.
In addition, Yayasan Al-Bukhari donated over 15 million ringgit and YTL Corporation Berhad donated 5 million ringgit. The figure nearly reaches the goal of 100 million ringgit to be allocated to Palestine to fund humanitarian aid activities, which demonstrates Malaysia's solidarity with the Palestinian people. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the humanitarian aid from Malaysia is meant to provide food and medicine as well as to repair basic infrastructure in Gaza. The AAKRP Fund was established following the ongoing conflict and violence in the Gaza Strip, with the government contributing an initial 10 million ringgit to the fund. Anwar added the contribution brings the total aid from Malaysia to 81 million ringgit.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim reminds all organisers of humanitarian funds for Palestine nationwide not to take advantage of these contributions. He emphasises that the aid funds being distributed must be managed efficiently and responsibly in accordance with the law.
Dia ada peraturan dia yang diurus dengan cekap. Janganlah umpamanya ambil kesempatan itu untuk bina pula mahligai kita masing-masing, badan-badan sukarela kita masing-masing dan membelanjakan yang begitu tinggi untuk keindahan pejabat kita, padahal dana ini adalah untuk bantuan kemanusiaan.
He spoke at the donation presentation ceremony for the Tabung Amanah Account Kemanusiaan Rakyat Palestin AKKRP in Putrajaya on Thursday, and also advises the people in this country who intend to donate to Palestine to use the correct channels to prevent misuse by irresponsible parties.
At the same time, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim assures that the unity government under his lead will continue to defend the country's judiciary independence at all costs. He also refurbished the allegations over disconcerting rumblings that the executive arm of the organs of the state is interfering with due process and strong-arming the judiciary.
There is not one iota of truth in these scurrilous allegations, which are now being repeated ad nauseum in the social media. Let me reiterate what I have said before. As Prime Minister, not only have I not encroached upon even a single inch of the sacred terrain of the judiciary, but I shall defend at all costs the independence of the judiciary.
Speaking at the 14th ASEAN Law Association ALA General Assembly 2023 in Kuala Lumpur today, Prime Minister said that there was a time in Malaysia's history where certain black sheep of the judiciary, working hand in glove with certain powers that be, committed gross transgressions against its very institution and feeding the virulent spread of tyranny and arbitrariness on the other. Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the government and those who wield power must be held to account for their decision and actions. Meanwhile, government must be transparent, and that is imperative from the principle of open government.
Hence, shady dealings and dodgy decisions cannot be used to pull wool over the people's eyes in the name of the Official Secrets Act. Then there is the doctrine that laws must be fair and just, and that all must have the accessibility to the hallowed halls of justice.
Therefore, Prime Minister calls on lawyers to be the champions of justice, the fierce advocates for the marginalised and the torchbearers of equality. On the other hand, Dato Sri Anwar informed that Malaysia is on the short list for companies that are looking for the right balance of talent, infrastructure and costs, while insulating themselves from geopolitical risks. He noted that he heard this personally from many of the chief executive officers of the Fortune 500 companies he met in New York last month. However, he pointed out that the efforts to attract these companies will come to naught if we continue this relentless campaign to destabilize and undermine the government at every step. The government will fulfill its promise of providing 100 e-wallet ringgit assistance to the eligible recipients in December. This was assured by Deputy Finance Minister II, Stephen Sim Chi Kyong, as announced by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim during the launch of the Madani Economy Empowering the People in July.
E-wallet RM100 itu akan diagihkan menjelang bulan Disember nanti. Jadi akan dapat sabar, kerajaan akan tunaikan janji.
Sim said that the initiative is not limited to the households of recipients only, but also extends to the local market, especially small traders and hawkers. The 100 ringgit e-wallet assistance is the latest initiative announced by the government for the B40 and M40 groups with incomes below 100,000 ringgit. Meanwhile, Sim also mentioned the Basic Rama Contribution 2024 announced in the 2024 budget, which will benefit 700,000 recipients of the Sumbangan Tunai Rama STR.
Untuk ayam dan daging kita apungkan. Maksudnya semua kena beli pada harga pasaran. Tapi untuk orang-orang yang memerlukan, golongan-golongan yang memerlukan, kita ada banyak inisiatif. Saya bagi contoh, Sumbangan Tunai Ramah. Kita bagi Sumbangan Tunai Ramah dan tahun ni Sumbangan Tunai Ramah meningkat dari 8 bilion kepada 10 bilion. Satu lagi program SARA di mana kita bagi RM100 kepada keluarga yang di bawah STR ini setiap bulan. Ini on top of the STR.
He said eligible recipients would receive a monthly contribution of 100 ringgit for a period of 12 months.
The date for prices of chicken and egg to be floated in the market is expected to be announced during a press conference on October 30th. Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Sabu said discussions and meetings are being held with the stakeholders and industry players who are involved in production to ensure prices remain at a reasonable rate after the announcement. Sabu said the move to float the prices for the long term or short term will depend on the situation which is affected by external factors such as global situation and climate change. He added that the media conference would comprise the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Economy and Department of Statistics Malaysia. At the Budget 2024 tabling, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim announced that the temporary price controls for eggs and chickens would be lifted as current trends indicated the supply of both was now stable, adding that the move will enable the local market to function freely in ensuring sufficient supply of both the products. Students' enrollment in the science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM stream has increased from 40.95% in 2021 to 45.73% this year, said Education Minister Fadlina Sidek. The improvement, she noted, was a result of proactive measures taken by the Education Ministry, including the Malaysian Education Blueprint, was emphasized the use of new learning approaches and strengthening the curriculum to enhance students' interests.
Usaha meningkatkan kompetensi guru dalam pemantapan aktiviti pengajaran dan pembelajaran di dalam dan luar bilik darjah juga merupakan antara langkah yang dilaksanakan bagi meningkatkan minat murid. Seterusnya mendorong mereka memilih aliran STEM di peringkat kajian yang lebih tinggi.
Fadlina said the MOE always pays attention to the availability of infrastructure to support STEM education, noting that in the budget 2024, a total of 100 million ringgit is allocated to maintain and upgrade school computer labs and acquire new equipment for STEM learning. She added an allocation of 254 million ringgit has been also approved to supply design and technology RTB subject teaching equipment for primary schools and upgrade the RTB rooms in primary schools in the third rolling plan of the 12th Malaysia Plan. And now moving on to international affairs. Migrants on Thursday began returning to an accommodation barge dock on the southwest English coast after it was evacuated 2 months ago over contaminated water supply fears. A coach carrying migrants was seen arriving at Portland Port, where the BB Stockholm vessel is moored. The UK government's decision to house migrants on the barge is its latest controversial immigration policy. The first migrants to be housed at the site arrived in early August, but all 39 were evacuated days later following the discovery of Legionella bacteria in the water supply. Around 30 protesters on Thursday gathered at the gates to Portland Port holding banners reading "Scrap the prison barge. Refugees welcome." The barge is intended to house up to 500 young male migrants. Argentina's selection campaign was marked by heated exchanges on Wednesday as the incumbent president pressed charges against frontrunner candidate Javier Milei for dissing the national currency, which subsequently crashed. President Alberto Fernandez announced he had reported Milei for public intimidation after the candidate said Monday the Argentine peso isn't worth excrement.
Milei, who is presenting himself as an anti-establishment candidate, urged people away from investment in the local currency. The currency crashed to over 1,000 to the dollar on the informal market, a record low from 880 before the weekend. The informal or blue dollar exchange rate is now almost 3 times the official rate of 365.50 to the dollar. Milei retorted that the powers that be was seeking to ban the most voted political force ahead of the first round of presidential elections on October 22. He came out tops in a countrywide primary vote in August and is ahead in opinion polls.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And a quick reminder before we end the Nightline, TVS is now also available on Unify TV, so tell your friends and family. And that's all the updates for TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.